Where does this team come from and why does it exist? In 2004, my excellent lawyer Ivan Pavlov, who is Doctor of Science, he was always interested in questions of openness of government, thought, why is there no NGO in Russia who would study this, who will try to promote the right to improve access to information? He just started this NGO, and in 10 years this organization became the only one who works on this topic alone, as it develops on openness in government and NGOs, and it works with such great success that in 2014 they were noticed and they were put on the list of foreign agents together with other organizations, and we continue to be very proud of this. When we became part of this list, we thought how we would continue to work. We thought about it at length, and we realized we will use all the instruments within the law to prove that we are not foreign agents, but in terms of continuing our work, we want to do something very new. We want to go along different lines, and we don't want to continue to fight the label of a foreign agents and just try to relaunch in a very novel format. Well, I'll try. The speaker had better spoken slower. Well, the activity of this foundation was split into two independent projects. One of them would be supervising such as strategic and tactical and court cases and enlightenment, and the other is known as Infometer, continues to the studies on openness of government and working with government officials so that they should post more information on the websites, more data, make our country more open, meaning the state. So I'll tell you about the team 29. That is those who continue to work actively on the freedom of information. We are saying that we are an informal association of journalists and lawyers, which is the case. This team is a legal entity. They're just people who think what they do is important and continue to do it with great pleasure. Overall, we have 9 people on the team, 6 lawyers, 3 journalists who meet in the morning in the office discussing what they do today and help people as they seek more information and better access to information. To describe better our scope, this slide we tried to show you typical, model questions that activists from grassroots level, just people, citizens, where they seek our help. The thing is that right to access to information, people are not fully aware of this. Many people know there is right to life. Now it's popular right not to be subject to torture and anti-inhuman treatment, the right to an education, right to healthcare, but few people are aware that we have right to access of information. So when people try to defend their other rights, very much they're down-to-earth things like, as for example, utilities, poor work in kindergartens, pavements that are not clean. They try to use this right to access to information as an instrument to help them address these questions. And yet there is another scope. This has to do with what is known as restricted data, where it has to do with professional focus of our leader, Ivan Pavlov, because he defended those accused of breaching state secrets, so highly sensitive information, and we also got the focus on that. In 2017, you could hear about cases that were taken up by our lawyers, by former librarian, chief librarian of Ukrainian library, a so-called Sochi case of the high treason, those who were accused of high treason. They were said that, about whatever, the train or a ship that was sighted, they were defended by our lawyers. Well, English word would be barristers, but in Russian it's advocates. Who were accused of divulgence of state secret. We helped the journalists who were denied access to attend the meetings of the dissertation council. These are the pictures of happy and not very happy faces who were defended by our lawyers. Among the cases you may have heard, the case of Raoul Wallenberg, the case of Kolchak, this of Troll Factory and whatever. It all, you may have heard it in the media. If you remember, this is Team 29. Apart from that, apart from court cases, something that happened to disclose, we would like to discuss a website which we launched last year's Niche Media. We would like to point out that we do not feel we are media, and we do not call ourselves media, because it's just one of the areas where we work, and we would like that people, citizens who live in Russia, should feel better secure, should better know how to defend their rights in their interactions with the state. But as one of our colleagues put it, maybe Team 29 is not media, but they they look like media, they walk like media, they also we also just walk like media. So, well, maybe then we are media. So the high level of total inability to understand a legal text. It's impossible to read our legal text because our specially trained lawyers and they look into it, and journalists who are specially trained translate it into human Russian, where anybody can read and understand what it's all about. The second problem we want to address, this is a horrible problem. Today, 7 by 7, we asked about reader's profile, and our profile is a person who lives in a pretty big city, and at every time they keep hearing from information channels that something happens. They've jailed somebody, somebody was detained, and security online, they will now ban it all. They just put somebody, sentence somebody for reposting some information online. It creates so much tension in society. With what we publish, we want to relieve this tension. We want to explain to our citizens that yes, they've got tools to defend themselves, and it's not that bad. And of course, we say what is going on. Not necessarily good things, of course, happen. And then we share materials how to avoid this. So, in getting some kind of entertainment, we want to believe that they become more readable, if I may, or maybe more attractive for our readers. So, as we want to develop our own niche media in 2017, as we embarked upon that, we did not realize that we would hit the two trends that the Medusa pointed out in 2017 as they analyzed what was going on the Russian media market. This is 3 years anniversary of the Medusa project, and these two trends, this is what the article says. This is the prospering of the niche projects and development of the non-for-profits who would now adopt something that is typical of the media. Now NGOs take them over because now they fight for the attention of the readers. If we just continue along the same lines as we did 5 years ago, nobody would ever read what we are writing. We should worry not just that our materials should be good and should be excellent and should be useful, but they have to be written in adequate language and in the channel that is, well, customary for them, and so on. Another thing that we do in Team 29, their services, and seeking to address the problems that our readers face. One of these is known as Rosatvet, or Rosanswer. We usually help just common people who face down-to-earth problems, how to say, write a paper with the request access to information to some government authority. Strange as it may seem, it's quite a daunting task. And chances are that you may never receive an answer from them. You will never hear back unless you use proper language. So that a government official, when they open the letter, they realize that you can't ignore the letter or write something. This request for information should be written along a very good language where the government official should realize he cannot do with a formal reply. You say, please write to us in simple language. What do you want in plain language? And our volunteers, our lawyers, will translated into this formal legalese in such a way so that the government officials cannot ignore it or send a formal reply. So we get several thousand of requests, and half of them are ignored, half of them are we get formal replies, and in yet a quarter we get good answers from the government officials. So what has happened to us? What happened to us in 2017? We now collect donations. We got 400,000 rubles from those who support us. We launched the website for team29.org. It has 6,000 hits every month. It's so much less than our colleagues enjoy in 7 by 7, but our team is so much small and we do not focus on regional networks. We are pretty niche in terms of the scope. 20,000 unique visitors stay with us every month in 2017 on Facebook, on Vkontakte media, and several more points I wish to discuss at length. We try to stay as open and from our perspective and see what else we can do so that as human rights team we should come closer to our readers and respond and to their requests. So we started an all live Telegram chat where our users can go and request support on legal issues. And these legal issues, we just don't much filter whether it is within our expertise or not, but what is known as a lawyer on duty who immediately responds to these comments and these questions. It's chat. It's been working about 6 months now, and 600 visitors post about 10 to 15 questions every day. And this is funded by crowdfunding. We just collect the funds, raise the money to pay these lawyers who work like lawyer on duty. Last year we tried another format, like game. Everybody was amazed by this release of this very young, and somebody who's not into the legal audience, when the young people went to support Alexei Navalny. The question was, what do you do about them? Okay, well, they went out. They're 16, they're 20, they're 17. We thought that this text quest is something very specific, but a popular group of mobile games may be exactly the format that can help us get across to this group. If you got a device on Android, then in your Google Market, is it Google Play or whatever? Okay, whatever it's known, in your version of App Store, if you put the request Gobnya, this is a very derisive word of calling the Russian security services, we got about 2,000 downloads, and this audience under 20 indeed came there, and the feedback we got, much to our surprise, they were pretty good, but those who criticized this game, they helped us improve it. And since we continue the experiments, I would like to show you exactly this, what it looks like, our corporate souvenirs, which we invented last year. This is something to like shut down your laptop camera and to show how this works, this cover. Let's look at the video, short video that we have. This plug that will show what is. Somebody is watching you. You're afraid to get into on TV channel. You feel that somebody is watching you. You buy another 5 roll of tape and you don't feel secure. Team 29 represents webcam cover. Well, just shut down your web camera and use it. If you want to be seen, put it right. If you want to remain anonymous, shift it left. Bad day, mess in your room, we don't know how to switch off, just turn it right. Nobody would work against the privacy. In China, they sell programs that help to search people on their web cameras. Even now, school children know how to hack somebody else's cameras. Okay, the working server says moves easy slideways. Your child can do it. Just shift it left or shift it right to protect your personal information. More than half Russians are afraid that they're watched on web camera. Well, Zuckerberg and others could save so much money by using webcam cover. No longer needed to use tape, scotch tapes, or whatever. Webcam covers are best. To get this plug or cover, write your email. You will get a badge as a gift. Do it before FSB have banned them. You witnessed a very premiere announcement, because the 29th we will launch this video and we will start selling these plugs or covers so that each of our those who supported could see the logo in the most visible spaces. Well, I've shown you this, so how do we work? In order to ensure that business process that became possible so that we could make these videos, we could draft those texts. Last year we realized that we cannot work along the same lines as human rights activists. And we did it along very different lines, like multimedia boards. Once a day we have a special meeting using all the tools that every editorial boards use, like Planner plus Slack, plus we have people who are not in our staff. We now have a producer video contact. So on Monday we have a weekly meeting. We analyze the feedback, we analyze the indicators on all the channels, their websites, social media, who came from where, who wrote what. We reply to our readers, we interact with some comments that we left under what we publish, and in this way it all seeks to ensure that the classic image of a human rights project, expert, very well-toned, very, if you can put it this way, somewhat boring maybe, should be as far away from us as possible. Should be as close and as open to the people who are, say, between 15 to 35, who think they're young, advanced, and care about the country. And in order to speak the same language, you should look as much like them as you can. In 2018, we want to continue to plan the work along the same line and make clearer for us the profiles of our readers. And we would like to focus on 2 activities and try to strengthen our work along these lines. Within our plans that we do, like crowdfunding, because what we think that the more people are ready to pay, get out their wallet and get their card and make even a small donation to support Team 29, the better they realize is the realization that this work matters. It actually means that they value that we do. Our readers are potential champions, readers, and this is what we seek to achieve. And then, following Alexei Navalny, we will continue to develop video content, because this is the language we use, which is heard, which is perceived by the young people who actually don't know how to live without a mobile phone. Of course, we discovered for ourselves very unique things like analysis of our competitors. This is what our partners and friendly projects do. It helps what is it that you do right, what is it that you do wrong. And secondly, to be aware what your colleagues do. And secondly, new court cases. We look forward. We're always happy when we can help somebody who is in trouble. And our profile helps to do it in an expert manner. And we would be very happy to see you among our readers. Write us, visit our website, and I will be ready to answer your questions, if any. Thank you.